So instead of 90 seconds, I had to do 4 or 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I could have just, as I was discussing with my wife, I could have the option of just going there and saying some nice things about them and then about Mel and sit down. But I can't do that. I don't know why I can't do that.
You're incapable. It's just you've proved it many times.
I think the thing is ridiculous. I mean, I should mail you the plaque, and you shouldn't have to get dressed and go there. I mean, it was tough. But, so I got up and did this.
I call upon a man who has transcended radio to become an individual personality in and of his own right. He is simulcast every morning on MSNBC and broadcast through the facilities of Westwood One. He's a TV star, an author, a philanthropist. He's part of the highest grossing radio station in the United States, WFAN. He's a Radio Hall of Famer. He's the I-Man, Don Imus.
Larry King Live. Tonight, Rush Limbaugh's rehab roommate from Eagle, Colorado, Kobe Bryant's accuser's gynecologist. Later in the cast from Everybody Loves Raymond. Larry, we're friends. I'm begging you. It's over. Get out. When I was first married, my wife asked me, why don't you have any friends? Shortly after that, I gave a speech in Washington, D.C., in which President Clinton and his hideous wife were sitting 3 feet from me. I didn't make any new friends that night, and I suspect I won't make any here tonight. First of all, clearly the luckiest inductee this evening is Gene Autry, because while he's unfortunately dead, on the brighter side, he didn't have to sit through this. Who planned this evening? The same people who thought it was a good idea for Liza Minnelli and David Guest to get married? For the morons who told us that the Iraqis would fall all over themselves with joy when Saddam Hussein was gone. And they're broadcasting this live. Many of you here tonight are in radio, perhaps most of you. Is this a programming decision that you would make? And what do we think is listening? For example, in New York, it's heard on WOR. Do you know what their demographic is? People who eat dinner at Denny's at 4 o'clock in the afternoon through a straw. It's after 10 o'clock in New York. They went to bed 5 hours ago. Or they're dead. Maybe this is an experiment to see if radio works. Well, Marconi figured that out 100 years ago, and this cannot possibly be what he had in mind. Larry King, me, Jim Bohannon. Who exactly is Jim Bohannon? He describes himself as a moderate with a leftward tilt, which is another way to announce that he doesn't have any ratings either. They were thinking of trying Jim as part of a liberal talk network, to take on the conservatives, until they got a better idea. Hire an illegal immigrant to sell Rush Limbaugh 500,000 Vicodin. My 5-year-old son Wyatt is here tonight, and my wife and I were concerned when we learned Michael Jackson would be attending as well. I told him I didn't think it was the creepy one. Apparently I was wrong. Now coming up later is Orion Samuelson. I'm not as familiar with Mr. Samuelson's work as perhaps I should be. The latest September cheese production, the mating habits of sheep, why some are more attractive than others. Orion grew up on a dairy farm, so I'm hoping he'll be inducted by a couple of waitresses from Hooters. You ever milk one of them, Orion? I'm actually here this evening to induct my boss, Mel Karmazin, the head of Viacom, which of course includes CBS. How would you have liked to have been the person who had to explain to Mel why they thought it was a good idea to get Barbara Streisand's husband to play Ronald Reagan in a made-for-TV movie that essentially savages one of the most beloved and revered figures in America, who also happens to be suffering from Alzheimer's? What did they tell him? If the former president saw it, he wouldn't remember it? I am proud and honored to work for Mr. Karmazin and pleased to introduce him here this evening. He is one of the few people, perhaps the only person I've ever met, who is actually as smart as, well, he says he is. He is also genuinely hilarious, loyal, and possessed of a great and generous heart. I have said on other occasions, and I think it bears repeating here, a number of years ago, all of us who worked for him were enormously encouraged, inspired, and proud when he defended Howard Stern against absurd charges brought by the FCC. Those of us who take the First Amendment of the Constitution seriously found courage in his courage, recognized his loyalty and his commitment to principle. In the tradition of the pioneers of our industry and American business, Mel did not decide to commit to principle because it was convenient or because there was no risk involved. He did so because it was the right thing to do. At Viacom, the stockholders are the ones going to Jimmy Buffett concerts. And while they love Mel on Wall Street, he can still go home to Queens. Ladies and gentlemen, the Radio Hall of Fame is proud to induct Mel Karmazin. I gave Mel a second.
And what?
That's pretty good, huh?
Yeah. Oh, that was obviously the audience response was terrific.
Of course, nobody would speak to me when I left, but that's fine.
Then Mel got up, made his remarks. Very nice.
What?
Nothing. I guess he spoke extemporaneously, and
yes, I mean that's what.
I mean, I don't think he had anything perhaps as prepared as the I-Man did. But
no, he was there.
He's an excellent extemporaneous speaker.
He was there to point out
what
the importance of radio. Radio is an important part of infinity broadcasting, and it was a demonstration of how much he believes in radio and
the importance to him,
exactly,
of radio and to the company,
right.
And
he did mention to me that, but I thought he did well for
how he did.
Having given it little or no thought of what he was going to say. Other than he says to me about just before he said, maybe I should have written something. I'm 31 after the hour. Tom Friedman is coming up. So I said.